Good evening and welcome to our September 15th, 2015 Ogden City Council meeting. Let the roll call reflect that all council members are present. We will turn the time to Vice Chair White for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Please stand. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please now join us for a moment of silence. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is approval of minutes. First is for the work session of May 5th, 2015, and the work session on May 12th, 2015. Councilmember Garner.
Chair Heyer, I have reviewed those minutes and found them to be correct to the best of my recollection.
Then the regular meeting on June 16th, 2015. Councilmember Blair.
Yes, Chair Heyer, I have reviewed those and found them to be accurate.
Thank you. And the work session on June 16th, 2015, joint study session on June 23rd, 2015, and regular meeting on June 23rd, 2015. Councilmember Gochner.
I reviewed those items and found them to be accurate.
And then the work session on June 23rd, 2015, Councilmember Wicks.
I reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate.
The regular meeting on July 7th, 2015, Councilmember Stevens.
Yes, Mr. Chair, they're correct.
And finally, the work session on July 7th, 2015, closed session on July 28th, 2015, and joint study session on July 28th, 2015. Vice Chair White.
Yes, Chair Heyer, I reviewed those and found them to be accurate. And with that, I make a motion to approve the minutes under Section 4.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Vice Chair White, seconded by Councilmember Garner to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, thus stand approved. Next item is our common consent portion of our agenda. We have one item, Weber State Homecoming Royalty. This would normally be done outside of common consent, but our mayor is going to take care of the official business at a later time, so we're taking care of it in the common consent agenda. So do we have a motion?
Chair Heyer, I'll make a motion that we adopt items or agenda item number 5 for common consent.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Garner, seconded by Councilmember Blair. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have 2 public hearings. The first is for the annexation of 2863 South and 1250 West. Mr. Montgomery, welcome.
Thank you. As you made mention, this is a request to consider annexation of property located along Midland Drive. The property is shown in red and is owned by Geneva Rock. They also own property which is to the northeast, which is also in the city at this time. So they're looking to annex property that they own outside the city, bring it into the city so they can develop the property. As you can see, this is doing what we call filling in the islands. There are little areas of unincorporated county which are in these yellow areas here. And as development takes place, state law recognizes that development needs to be within municipalities rather than unincorporated counties. And so this is really following in compliance with state law and with the general plan which we have that talks about annexing areas that we can service. We can provide all the services to this property. And so as the Planning Commission considered this, they found it consistent with the annexation plan they found it also consistent that we should zone this property M2. Now, there was some discussion, and I'll use this map to kind of explain that discussion. You can see in purple all those areas that are zoned M2 now that are in Ogden City. The darker purple is the Ogden Industrial Park and the OCIP zone. Those wide areas are then incorporated county areas. This annexation would leave then a little peninsula of unincorporated county which has homes on it. Originally, this area was all farmland, and so those are some of the homes that are still left, but industrial development is taking place all the way around these homes now. And you can see that M2 is on all sides of this property except for the unincorporated county piece, which is zoned M1 in the county. There was discussion about how can we protect the homes, and some of the discussion that took place in the Planning Commission meeting was, can we come up with a different zone? As it was discussed further, the realization was M2 is what this is planned for, M2 is what the existing uses are around it, M2 is what the existing zoning is, and to come up with something different for that one location where the owner of the property actually has M2 property in the city and he's just trying to expand now his operation of M2 uses. It'd probably be inconsistent to say come up with some special zone for the homes that exist in that area. Now, when uses come in, there may be conditional uses. The homes can still be looked at as far as protecting them, but and try to look at reducing impacts. But overall, the M2 zoning is still probably the most appropriate zone for the area. And so the Planning Commission's recommendation to you is to annex the property and give it an M2 zoning designation.
Any questions for Mr. Montgomery?
Has there been any discussion on developing a buffer area to protect them, or is that impractical in that aspect?
Well, the question would be that their zone manufacturing, this is zone manufacturing, what would the ultimate uses be? And depending on what type of activity is taking place, if you put a buffer there now and then that is sold out and developed and then becomes industrial just like everything else, what are you buffering at that point? Because the ultimate development should be industrial uses there. So you try to look to say, how can I mitigate impacts to those homes with a use that may be a conditional use, but permitted uses would not have any ordinance requirement of buffering. So it's just trying to work with the developer, seeing if they can be conscientious about that, but we really don't have an ordinance that would require buffering unless it's a conditional use.
One resident didn't have any complaints about Geneva Rock, but he did mention that there could be some dust or the time of operations in that area. I guess that would be working with Geneva Rock to work out those details.
It'd be working with whatever that specific use is being proposed for that property. At this point, we don't know the exact layout or design, other than we know it'll be an expansion of what Geneva Rock does there.
Any more questions? All right, thank you. Well, we would normally like to hear from the petitioner, but it doesn't look like that person is here. And we also will accept public input on this, since it is a public hearing, if anyone would like to chime in. So since there's no one here,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Gochner, second by Councilmember Garner to close public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
No further discussion. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2015-36.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Gochner, second by Councilmember Blair to adopt ordinance 2015-36. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair,
Aye.
Councilmember Garner,
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner,
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens,
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks,
Aye.
Vice Chair White,
Aye.
Chair Heyer.
Aye, that passes. Next item is an annexation also, 1438 West, 3300 South.
So this request also is related to additional development proposed in the area. The property that's being reviewed tonight is a business that presently was in Weber County. Smith Stone, they do cabinetry and countertops. And as they look to expand, that triggers a requirement then to annex the property because, again, it is an unincorporated island surrounded by Ogden City. And we have the services that we can provide for the development. As you can see in this air photo, the city boundaries are both to the east and to the west of it. There is this area that they do not own to the north that will now be an area of unincorporated county and can only be annexed once development is proposed. There is not the majority of property, nor is that to trigger annexation of the additional property, so only this piece could be annexed in. The Planning Commission is recommending that M2 zoning be the zoning for this annexation. Again, M2 is to the east, as you can see here. There are storage units that are in the city that are to the west that are zoned M1, but it's felt that the M2 is still more consistent because you also have M2 zoning across the 3300 South to the south. And it's felt the M2 zoning would be a more appropriate zoning for that property. So the recommendation is to annex this property and give it the M2 zoning designation.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Montgomery on this item? Okay, thank you. Again, doesn't look like the petitioner is here or any public. So,
But it is a public hearing,
It is a
so I'll
public
go ahead
hearing.
and make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
we have a motion by Councilmember Guckner, seconded by Councilmember Wicks to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Do we have a motion on the annexation?
I'll continue on and make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2015-37.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Guckner, seconded by Councilmember Blair, to adopt ordinance 2015-37. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gardner,
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner,
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens,
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks,
Aye.
Councilmember Blair,
Aye.
Vice Chair White,
Aye.
Chair Heyer.
Aye. That also passes. Next item is public comments, and seeing that there is no public with us today, we'll move on to comments from our mayor.
Couple quick things. A lot going on this week, it being homecoming week for Weber State University. I saw a number of purple ties in here. Let's keep that up. That's going to be a great day up there, and would love to encourage everybody to go up and watch that homecoming game. They've had a lot on campus already, and I think that's going to be fun. It also conflicts with the Xterra National Championship race, which is always a big event. They come in on Saturday as well. We love having that partnership with those guys. That'll be really unique. And then just a quick shout out to the Ogden School District. I had an opportunity today to go to an award that Mount Ogden Junior High got. The state releases their released their grades today of all the different schools in the districts, and Mount Ogden Junior High was a D 2 years ago, and they got a solid B rating, and that's a pretty good jump in 2 years. So I'd like to thank all those administrators and teachers that have worked so hard to make that happen. And having 2 daughters that go there, that's always something you like to see, but we'd like to see every school in the district be supported and make similar style changes. So I just wanted to call them out. I thought that was a great accomplishment in a really short period of time.
Great, thank you. Comments from council members?
I just want to follow up through the College Town Initiative. We were able to distribute a bunch of Wildcat kits, and I've seen them actually going up and even in the malls and some of our restaurants. So that's been kind of fun to see the purple everywhere. So thank you for leading that, Amy Sue.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I make a prediction, I think Weber State will win this week.
Okay, Councilmember Stevens is on record.
You going to guarantee that victory?
Guaranteed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take that to the bank.
All right, any other comments? Okay, next item is a closed executive session. We need a motion to move into that closed executive session.
A motion that we move into a closed executive session.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garner, seconded by Vice Chair White to move into a closed executive session. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gochner,
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens,
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks,
Aye.
Councilmember Blair,
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner,
Aye.
Vice Chair White,
Aye.
Chair Heyer.
Aye. That passes. We will adjourn from our city council meeting at the conclusion of our closed executive session in the other room, and then there will be a city council work session that will happen immediately after.